making a mobile app cost like $40,000. That's the reason we only had like 9 million apps on the App Store and billions of websites before AI.
For people who haven't heard of Rork yet, what is it?
Rork is the largest AI mobile app builder in the world. Basically, it's the fastest way to get your app on the App Store. Pokemon Go, Fortnite, FIFA, it can build games, native apps in Swift. Not a lot of people were focusing entirely on mobile. Like Bolt added this feature too, but it sucked because they never built a mobile apps. We built Rork Max, the first website that actually replaced Xcode. It does it all in the browser. Any kid in the world can use it.
And you were thinking about that. You saw it, you looked ahead and you saw that this was...
Go to walk with Gabriel and he's like, you'll have the hardest time raising this round because people don't believe it in it. Anton Osika, the CEO of Lovable.
Okay.
They kind of trying to acquire us, which is insane.
15 million. Were you expecting to raise that? So Gabriel Vasquez from A16Z, right? He said that your second round was going to be the hardest round you'd ever raise. Why? And how did it happen?
Yeah, so we were basically part of A16Z speedrun. After we raised like $3 million to tweet, we basically admitted ourselves into speedrun. And it was the last LA batch with a demo day in San Francisco. And basically we're growing really fast. We launched like an app that makes mobile apps, which were later taken out by the App Store. But back then it was like #2 worldwide in developer tools. We were like basically beating everyone, but there was also a lot of noise on Twitter among our competitors. And when we basically presented at demo day, basically the demo day presentation was really good. And then right after that, basically 2 days later, basically another app that builds mobile apps that was like really, really hot at the time launches. And basically a lot of investors, and at the same time, Lovable sends an investor update saying that they're going to do mobile. So the group chat things like Rork is cooked. 2 days ago after the demo day, it was a lot of high people DMing. So we got into the group chat, we got the buzz, and then 2 days later, disappeared. It's like, what? And then I go to a walk with Gabriel, and he's like, there's so much noise out there. People don't really understand you're literally the only company in the space. And everyone else is basically and not gonna make it. But yeah, you'll have the hardest time raising this round because people don't believe in it. And there's Twitter and group chat, and yeah, we didn't say group chat back then, but it was the vibe. It was just focus on winning and just raise this round, and everything is gonna be great later. And I was like, why did he say that? It's he believes in us so much. And he was one of the first people, apart from speedrun, to believe in us from A16Z. And I'm really grateful for him and to, basically Andrew Chen, Tracker, and Tom from speedrun as well. And all the team. It was amazing. But basically after that, it was kind of a really, really long process with people really expressing doubts about Lovable and everything like that. And we started getting term sheets, but it was basically growing really slowly. The fundraiser was pulling up slowly. And then suddenly Anton DMs me for the second time in life. Actually, for the first time, he actually DM'd me back in November.
Who's Anton again?
Anton Osika, the CEO of Lovable.
Okay.
He actually DM'd me in November, back in 2024. He was like, what is the best technical stack to add mobile to Lovable? And they were I said this is the technical stack that Martin and Kohar use, and we I did too. Basically, it was React Native and all this. And he was like, okay, thanks. And then they never added it. And then basically a year after, he's like, yo, do you want to go to this breakfast? And so they kind of trying to acquire us, which is insane. And I posted it on April Fool's joke. And basically right after I said it, some investors were like, yeah, I don't basically really think. And I said, yeah, it's okay. Lovable just wanted to acquire us, and then before that, other companies tried to do, which we didn't disclose. So I think we're gonna be good. And then suddenly they turned from being absolutely not interested to being super interested. And that's how we got more term sheets. That's how we basically raised 50 million in the end. So kind of the fact that they tried to acquire us after announcing mobile was the thing that kind of helped to close our round.
Wow.
So if that didn't happen, I wasn't sure that basically we would have closed it.
Yeah.
or it would have been a much different term. So
Mm.
it's all a lot of luck as well. So which is kind of crazy.
Daniel, hi.
Hi, Julia. Nice to
Thank you for inviting me to your office.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to get into this. So many amazing questions. You haven't done too many podcasts, right?
No, this is actually my first one.
Oh my gosh, first one. This is amazing. So you're gonna learn more about who Daniel is. Let's start with the first question, which is for people who haven't heard of Rork yet. What is it?
So Rork is the largest AI mobile app builder in the world. Basically, it's the fastest way to get your app on the App Store. It one-shots any app like Pokemon Go, Fortnite, FIFA. It can build games. It can build native apps in Swift and publish them to the App Store, generate the screenshots in like really basically a few minutes, which was like really hard before. Yeah. So, and we basically have now other companies that are doing it on the web. So there's a lot of like desktop apps that do it, including Xcode. But we basically built Rork Max, the first website that actually replaces Xcode. It does it all in the browser that any kid in the world can use, basically.
That's amazing. And you've been building since you were 11. How many companies have you started?
I've actually started 5 companies at this point. This is the 5th.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And tell me more about, were the other companies in a similar niche field?
So my first company basically was an app to search movies by vibe. I started as a 20-year-old student of Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology. It's like basically the MIT of Russia, like the most hardcore physicists study there. And I dropped out basically to build apps. And I had this like problem with my girlfriend on what to watch. And yeah, basically we wanted Netflix-like experience, but for all movies in the world. And somehow found ourselves in language models, which was really early at the time. It was like 2018. And somehow like ended up using BERT, the first transform model, to predict the next movie you're going to watch, and scraping all the internet to actually predict like how romantic, smart, inspiring the movie is, which is basically what ChatGPT has done later.
Wow.
And yeah, I remember back in the day in Russia, basically a lot of people were like interested in machine learning. That's not called AI, but they were mostly doing like image gen, and not a lot of them were doing like natural language processing, which turned out pretty important. And I remember basically this app grew to like 200,000 users and number 2 in the App Store with like zero marketing. We're just students with no work experience and raised like money out of nowhere in Russia, which is really hard to do as well because there's no like Silicon Valley. So basically that was like a pretty interesting experience where then we basically learned about YC, about like all the like product Silicon Valley advice from A16Z and Sequoia, and I fell in love with Twitter and started reading it a lot. So basically it was just, since then it's been like an 8-year journey of coming here.
Wow.
And when I finally came, like it all manifested somehow.
That's awesome. You said you were building since 11. Like, what did you start building? How did you start building? How did you discover? Just like, yeah.
So I was really big into Pokemon, basically. I really always liked Nintendo games, like Fire Red and like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald was like my favorites. Mm-hmm. And I used to hang out a lot over websites, but I didn't really like them. And I wanted to start my own like Pokemon forum. So basically, I also observed my stepfather, who is Indian, by the way. That's why my surname is Dhawan.
Okay.
And he was like big Apple fan. So we would have like all the old Emacs and like power books at home, and I would watch how he uses all the like Dreamweaver and like website building software and Photoshop for design. So I would just learn by like watching. And then when I turned 11, I was just like, I want to build my own stuff. So I started designing stuff in Photoshop, like building websites.
Oh my God.
And my first website was like a Pokemon website. I found like co-founder and I had like 100 users, so it was really fun. Yeah. I had a forum in PHP and yeah, basically design and HTML, CSS.
And how did growing up with 2 different cultures, so your mom is Russian, yeah?
Ukrainian,
yeah. So how did growing up with 2 different cultures, how is that like?
It is a bit weird. So I'm a vegetarian, so like since birth, because of, again, my family. So in Russia, it's not really celebrated. So
Yeah, they like meat.
yeah, it's just like it's like a meat eating country.
True.
Yeah, so I was kind of like the white crow, if you could say, right? And that's probably like how it's been like. So got a lot of bullied in school and stuff like that. So which is a lot of like entrepreneurial motivations come from. And yeah, I was just basically the smartest kid, but I was going to like a sports school, which is like super random. So I got into soccer a lot. So I got basically like trying to win in soccer a lot, and then just trying to be smart at the same time. And yeah, basically somehow I would always vibe with like normal people. They would always like want to like learn how do I like code basically. I don't know why, even though they were not like engineers. And I found that basically they are really, really bad at using terminals and like code editors. So that's why I like understood the value of no code basically for the first time, I think.
Yeah. And so walk me through where you grew up and how you got here.
Yeah. So I grew up in Moscow. I was born in Moscow. My family came from the Donetsk region, basically, of Ukraine. And yeah, in 90s, moved to Moscow. Yeah, my mom married an Indian guy, as we know. So I traveled a lot to India, like 15 times. For 3 months, I've been studying like an Russian embassy in India, which is like a stupid, funny experience. But yeah, most of that basically made me like know English really good. My sister also got really lucky and basically moved to England when I was like 14 and married a Canadian guy, which is like made me travel to London a few times as well. So I kind of grew up I'm a Russian person by nature, but like grew up in an international English culture, which is very rare for Russian people.
Yeah, you have such a unique upbringing.
Yeah.
Like very unique. Wow. And it made you really like who you are. I mean, you said like your dad, like really your stepdad really kind of inspired you, saw who he was building. Wow. And then when did you move to San Francisco?
It was just over a year ago.
Okay.
So all of this happened in like over a year ago. So I've basically had to travel 14 countries. When basically Russia attacked Ukraine, I was in Indonesia, Bali, basically, as we were doing a crypto company at this point, and which we interviewed for YC for. And basically, I was at the time basically I was like, oh, I'm not going back. Finally, I'm like moving out. And since then, basically traveled to 14 countries, saw the world. And yeah, there were like a bunch of places where Russian immigrants hang out, like Tbilisi, Georgia, where my co-founder is from. And yeah, like a bunch of other cities, including London. And obviously everyone wanted eventually to move to SF, but now it became hard because US visas for like nomads is like terrible, right? I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just like to avoid problems with immigration. But yeah, it's just American, even like tourist visa for nomads is hard. So yeah, I think the reason I didn't move to the US earlier, because I really wanted to move like since I became fell in love with Twitter, Silicon Valley character, is that I basically never gave up, and I'm not going to work. I'm just going to start another company. Maybe I worked for like 3 months. Actually, one of those 3 months was actually with our competitor for Rork. I worked for Ansh from Vibecode, which is like a totally insane story. And then we ended up competing.
Oh my
gosh. So it's crazy, yeah.
Wait, what was that insane story? Let's go into detail.
About like working for Ansh?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically he was doing like an app that basically hacked Instagram feed at the time and tried to like make it more personalized and filtered. Yeah. So I built this app and learned about Expo actually. While working for Ansh. So he gave me a full-time offer, but our crypto company took off where we did generative art marketplace, went to YC interview. So I was like, no, I'm not going to work for you. And then just started again, my own company. And we ended up competing for an Expo app builder. It's like, how cool is that? It's like this, Steve Jobs will always tell you, like, you can connect the dots on looking backwards. So somehow like all of this connected.
Yeah. I mean, it's like something it's awesome how things like this just connect. I mean, you just keep following like your passion. Yeah. You have a guiding light and you just go.
It's kind of like insane because my story and my co-founder's story is like basically the story of an entrepreneur who never gave up. So that's why we kind of started Shopify for apps, because basically we are the people who just tried things until it worked. So and refused to go to a job, like unemployable people, basically.
Yeah. I mean, can you take me back to December 2024? You're in San Francisco. What was happening then?
So basically, I started Rork initially as Rork for web, and yeah, it was 3 months before Lovable launched, as we saw this trend, basically of non-technical people using Cursor, paying for templates, and like going viral on Twitter with stuff they've built. And since we tried always save money, we were like really great at like using all this like tech stack, like Next.js, Supabase, Vercel to like optimize and just build great software of just teams of 1 or 2 people, literally. And as this is like the best way to be cockroaches, as like Paul Graham said. So when we understood that, it's like it was obvious that like soon, because of like how good Sun 3.5 was, it was obvious that it's going to be basically really easy to build like web apps in the browser. So yeah, we built that first as a Next.js editor, and then basically Lovable launch took off, and I think Next.js was a really wrong bet. And then basically Levan came up with this genius idea. Let's do Expo, let's do mobile. We did mobile for all of our lives. We actually did an app together that was just viral TikTok with AI covers, basically. And yeah, we develop our own like AI models for covers, like, you know, this SpongeBob singing stuff, or yeah, basically like the ability to change voice into an AI voice. So sing any song with your own voice, with your own AI voice, or like change it to some character. It's just a fun entertainment app to, yeah, because we also like wanted to basically make an app that gives us like 10K MRR, so we can like go and do some other projects later and like build a startup. Just like a complete refusal, like going to work. So
Yeah. Wow.
that's kind of like, that's why I think we're the best people to build Rork. It's the company that helps other people do the same
Yeah.
really easily.
Exactly. Yeah, and we'll definitely get into more of those like success stories with like younger people building.
Yeah, and then so to your question, basically, I came to December 2024 to Founders Inc. to this cold start program because we were like rejected from YC for like the 9th time. It's like, okay, and GMI. And I basically came and it was like, it was just basically like a program where, okay, maybe we'll invest at the end, maybe not. So it's just like a month during Christmas holidays. So just work really hard. And if you succeed, you succeed. If you don't, you don't. And then basically we were working on trying to like bunch of stuff. Yeah, I made like a really basically co-created like 21st Dev, which was like a really viral component marketplace that went viral with Lovable and Bolt. That's how, and also by basically following each other on Founders. I think I grew my Twitter following to like 2,000 followers. And then basically when we were like ready to launch Rork for mobile, and I was finally convinced that's the right thing to do, which was like really hard to be convinced of, because this is one of those types of ideas which is like so obvious in retrospect and that we are the best people to do it. But it's really hard to convince yourself that it's going to be like really big market. And yeah. But you might think that web is like the big market and Lovable has like 500 million ARR.
Yeah.
But actually, I think that most kids want to build mobile apps. Most entrepreneur wants to be on the app store, especially like in all over the world. So that's why I think we're kind of building like a more harder, like a harder version of Lovable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why basically we're the only vibe coding company that basically has people like George making money on our platform, actually, like actual entrepreneurs, not agencies or anything like that.
Tell me more about George's like story, like, or like any of your users, kind of.
Yeah. George's story is like the most famous we tell.
Okay.
Basically, he was like the first person that made money with Rork. And basically, he found us through like a TikTok video where a girl said like you can build 7 apps in a weekend. He was like, no way. And he was sitting in a classroom like scrolling. TikTok was like, okay, this is insane.
Yeah.
So he went on Rork.com and built an app. And he was like, okay, this is insane. This works. then he started researching like what is like Rork, how is like different with versus Lovable, and he's like actually understood that this is a thing you can actually publish to the App Store and actually make money. So he learned about Revenue Cat, like Googling how to read Revenue Cat Rork. Even though we didn't have any integration, our agent was really bad at the moment, but people like George still found us. It was like May 2025, I think already. And it was right after I think we launched and grew to over $1 million ARR at this point. But I think the launch story is also really, really fun.
Yeah.
That we didn't talk about.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Launch story, yeah.
Yeah, so the launch story is basically we're like convinced we're running out of money. We're 15K in debt, sleeping in my YC founder friends in Fremont, basically, in a mattress. So it's like this classic story. But I have like a really embarrassing photo of it. So it's not like a setup mattress. It's like, it's a real...
Did you post about it on X?
No, this is a really embarrassing
This is
picture. It's just like, everything is just like all over the place and I'm sleeping. It's
Oh
just
my
like,
gosh.
and yeah, but I think basically it was like no hope. And I was like, no, fuck it, we're just gonna launch. We think like Bolt and Lovable was like thought that they're gonna do it now. So I basically like, yeah, I basically like worked on like finishing some stuff on design and like adding a preview. And then like on the same day as Bolt launches, I was like, fuck, I'm launching too. And then we basically got only 100,000 views and one investor interested, Matt Schumer.
Okay.
It's like, I really like the product. I think it's better than Bolt. So basically I pitched him, and then like 4 days ago, like Rork basically went viral and got like 1 million views because he posted about it, because he really liked the product. And 15 minutes after his post, we basically raised $150,000 from Austin Allred. And then all of the other folks basically start pulling up. I got like Matteo Franchetti from Made Sleep like calling me out of nowhere on my phone. I didn't know, and I got my number. It's just random people like calling me, and it was just Twitter. So that's how when I learned what is like the power of the group chat. Just like somehow people knew who I am and started talking to me like I'm like some kind of like, I don't know, a celebrity, but I'm not, like just like yeah, wow. It's just a product going viral and a really great product.
It felt like it happened almost overnight, but people don't understand. Like it's like so like the consistent amount of work you put, you're ready for that moment.
Yeah, and I'm thankful that my co-founder Levan didn't listen to me and actually like put like 3 months of like work into like actually building Rork for mobile, and just like I'm just gonna do it. And like
so you didn't want to do it. You
initially
were against
I was like yeah, like web is like so much bigger, and like in retrospect it is much bigger, but it didn't matter for us. We are the best people to build for mobile. This is the hardest problem to solve, and we were too late for web. So my co-founder was right. Levan was right. But at the point, yeah, basically when I understood it was, I remembered actually this Paul Graham's advice that you have to build for like small market that no one cares about, that actually is going to be big and grow over time. And then second, I actually observed my founder friend that I lived there, an apartment. I was like, he was using Expo for his app, which is like web plus mobile. I was like, okay, we can just do 3 platforms. So you capture the web and the mobile, and that's how you get like bigger market. So
that's what you realized. Okay.
It's like, so even if the market is small, we're still gonna get web because it's Expo. So like, okay, let's just do 3. And we ended up like focusing solely on mobile for because that was like the hardest problem to build, and that's why we actually are the largest DM mobile builder.
Because it's the hardest, and you are largest. Not a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah, basically, not a lot of people were focusing entirely on mobile. Like Bolt added this feature too, but it sucked because they never built actually mobile apps. They never understood what is the problems with all the Expo libraries that you have to like install a really specific way. Like there was like this thing that you have to write npx expo install, not just npm install basically, and a library. And there was like so many small things, like how to publish your app to the App Store. Like Evan Bacon built this great tool, npx test. Basically I was the first one to like integrate it into like a live like sandbox in E2B, just like introduce this like browser publishing flow to the App Store, which worked really, really unstable, but it was like the first basically way to publish your app through the browser.
Yeah.
It's like now it's obvious that it's like the future,
Yeah.
but somehow for web it's obvious, but for mobile there was not enough people thinking that's a great problem to solve. That's how it
And
basically.
you were thinking about that. You saw it, like you like looked ahead and you saw that this was.
Yeah. Then we a little bit got distracted because we got a competitor, Vibecode app, and they were like, "We're the mobile app to build mobile apps." So it was like, "Okay, we're gonna also do mobile apps for mobile apps to build mobile apps." So we got a competition with that. Even though I remember we talked with the expert team and they like said that like App Store's probably not gonna allow it, and that's what ended up happening. So, but because we kind of talked about it and then we were web first, we were the only ones who actually survived all this App Store thing deleting like the apps that makes apps, basically the mobile apps that makes mobile apps, because we initially focused on the problem, just like I want to build a mobile app, publish it to the App Store, maybe add a website on the web. There was no like fancy vibe coding, which I hate. The word
Yeah,
I hate.
you hate the. Yeah, I
hate
remember the first time I was like, because at first I was like, oh yeah, Rork is like the app, like vibe coding, but tell me why you don't like the word vibe coding.
So I remember in crypto, basically there was like a similar word that was called degen. Basically, it didn't really mean anything, and also meant everything at the same time. So people were just calling themselves degening, and what they really meant was like some people think that they were just gambling, some people think that they were like trading. So some people think that they were just early adopters of crypto, but they were all like degens. So all of these like vibe coder people was like the same thing to me. So vibe coding was a term introduced by Karpathy, which actually meant when you're like sitting in cursor and you have like an AI agent on the right that is not writing perfect code yet because it was like Sonnet 3.5, and still it's not writing perfect code where you just hit accept because you're too lazy to read it. Then you hit accept like 12 times, and then you finally like get like the vibe, and it's like somehow works, and it's like, okay, this works, I'm just gonna move on. This is vibe coding. You don't read the code. Now what, like everything that we do is kind of vibe coding, so we just like agents just do everything like really fast, really professionally, so we don't really look at the code anymore. I mean, like our engineers still do, but like I don't, for instance. Like Opus 4.8 is like amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like basically everything is vibe coding now. And then I think when people like founders of companies similar to Rork would call themselves like vibe coding companies, they actually meant that they don't know who are their users. That's actually one of the lessons I also learned with one of my startups.
Tell me about the lesson again. Tell everyone about this.
So basically, this is a funny story. So we went to the YC interview, the only YC interview that we got with this generative art NFT company that we were doing with my co-founder, with the other co-founder, Alexei. And basically, they really liked us, we're really technical, and they asked us one, like, we were actually pitching that we're like the Shopify for NFTs, which is like, this is like, the theme is like there, you know?
Yeah.
This is the company we should have been building, right? And but there's like, who are your users? And I was like, I remember like right before the interview, I was like reading this program, so I was like, you have to really be honest and tell how it is. And in the YC application, I thought it's like, basically we initially thought it's for the artists, and there was like a lot of like art block stuff. But then as we learned about crypto space, there was a lot of like trading going on, and it was just like mercenaries. So basically people who just want to make a quick buck. That's what I told them, which was not good. It meant that we had to pivot, and I don't believe this idea anymore. But I still told it, and I said, I think that question basically got frozen in my head, like, who are your users? Because it's kind of like a simple question, but it's like, it kind of determines everything. So when you say your users are vibe coders, who are they? It's like, who is the vibe coding? Well, why is it doing that? And yeah.
Let's talk. So you had an article, you wrote about missionaries, and what was the other one?
Mercenaries. Yeah.
Mercenaries. Tell me about that, like for anyone who doesn't know what those differentiation is.
Yeah, so a mercenary person is just a person who's motivated mostly by money. And missionaries is like a person who has like a mission. Like it doesn't mean that he's like a charity. It can also mean that basically he wants to make money and make an impact. And I think impact is important because it gives like meaning to you, and also like a feeling of that you have achieved something and written yourself into history, not just made money. So I think like people like Elon that want to go to space, they're missionaries because they want like a history book saying like Elon is the person who brought it to Mars, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what basically the article was, reflecting on my experience, because I kind of like went back and forth. I don't consider myself a mercenary, but I did do a lot of like stuff to make money, and I think like Rork users are kind of similar as well, and I was reflecting like why I don't consider myself like a mercenary, but I also um, did do like mercenary things at some points, and I think the reason is that basically it's like a choice, and but it's important to be a missionary because even in spite of the fact that you kind of don't focus on money, these are the people who usually produce outliers, and that's like not obvious. So if you look at all the like basically biggest founder successes in the world, they all have like a mission, which doesn't make sense because it, like if you think rationally, if you optimize for money at every point in time, and you just think about like, I want to make the company with the biggest valuation possible, it means you'll probably get it. No, somehow like if you have meaning and you actually like what you're doing and are inspired, then basically you'll make the most money. Yeah.
Yeah, before this, with the other podcast guest, we were talking about like Peter Thiel, and he's like, he's very, is he a mission?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
he mostly talk about like basically how to win, and like it's like basically his main idea is basically you should basically build monopolies and like try to avoid competition instead of like embracing it. I think that's a really powerful idea that also like inspired me, my co-founder Levan, to like just do Rork for mobile, because that's like kind of the space with no competition at this point, especially like mobile was empty, even though people try to compete with us, but because they never actually shipped mobile apps to the App Store, didn't have like a lot of users, they didn't know what it takes basically, and didn't focus enough on this.
Let's talk more about your co-founder Levan. Like his story is, would you say, extraordinary? Yeah, tell me like who he is.
His story is kind of insane. Yeah, so basically he also was born in Moscow, and even though he's like Georgian, and basically he was going to school and he built himself an app while he was like 15. It was an educational like basically app that basically helped you track your ratings and like become better at school, kind of like Saturn, but it's basically like an electronic diary, which basically later grew to 2 million users when he was 17 years old, like organically, had crazy like yearly retention, and then Moscow governments built their own app and started to compete with him, and
Because they knew he was building.
because it like some 17-year-old was like controlling like the biggest like educational app in Moscow, like every third Moscow kid was using it, so they kind of like started blocking the API access to him, and then he started like fighting them in a media war, and actually like I think when he added like a screen where every user would email the government and say, please unblock this app, like it would just get unblocked, and that's how he won basically. In the end, still none of us won, kind of, but like it was a short-term win for sure. Yeah.
Wow. And you said finding Levan was the most important hire, bigger than any round you raised. Why?
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a hire, like a partner, I think.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But I would just say that having a great co-founder is really important. And like Ben Horowitz always says that like every company needs like an entrepreneur and an innovator. I think Levan is definitely the innovator because again, we met like 3 years ago in San Francisco on a crypto hackathon. So crypto also brought us into like, we were just sitting at the table, me, my friend Yuri, which I was sleeping on a mattress for, Peter, who is now building like the first actually global bank for businesses on crypto, like Brex, but on crypto for US businesses and all over the world. And Levan is like just this fateful table. And yeah, we instantly like vibed with Levan, did some projects together, including that app that I talked about.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was obvious that basically he was just like, I'm not gonna like, his thing was like basically like failed. So it was like, I will not go to work like as me, so I'll just go and live on proceeds from my app and like basically South America. I just like build AI agents because I think like after ChatGPT launch, I was like, this is the future. So he's like, I'm building AI agents. I'm just learning how to do stuff. I'm just like locked in, all in, which is like the energy, the winning energy that he need to like win. So I feel like that, and the fact that when he was building his first app, he spent like literally 7 years in React Native, which is like the basis for Expo, right? And basically made Rork the best like agent for apps when like models weren't there yet. And then as models were improving, basically Rork was improving with them, which is also a thing he predicted. So it's all basically about having a great innovator on the team. And I don't consider myself like a great entrepreneur yet. I'm just like good. But yeah, Levan is definitely like a one of a kind innovator. So I was really lucky to like find him.
That's amazing. And so everyone said when AI tools for building apps came out, anyone could build. Regular moms, office workers, anyone. Was that right?
I think no. Like at the time when Lovable and Bolt came out, it was not true for sure. Now I think it is true for sure. But I always ask the question like, why do they need to build an app? So all of this narrative I really hate because it doesn't like expose like why are people using it. So it's just like this idea that your mom will build an app. And all this like personal software, I think, is actually for productivity. So personal software is like actually for people who want their own Jarvis, you know? It's not for people who are like, I don't know, just want to build apps for fun. There's no like fun for most people in doing that. Because again, I grew up with like ordinary people that, I don't know, play soccer in school and like were just like watching movies and didn't care about coding or not really smart. So I kind of knew that most consumer, like I don't really care about like coding. They're like, terminal, Claude code? No, this is not for me. So even, it's obvious that, like when people said like Claude code was like the way that people would build apps, it was obvious that it was not going to be. But also there were like startups like, again, Vibecode and Wabi that really tried to go after this idea that people, like moms or like ordinary people, would build software for themselves, which I really didn't buy because I knew that most people just want to use software. The people who want to build software are mostly high agency people and entrepreneurs who either want to like be more productive or make a business.
I feel like starting with like app building is such a great way. Like it's such a great, like if you don't know, if you want to become an entrepreneur, but you don't know what idea or where to start, I feel like maybe starting with an app.
Everyone has an app idea. And I also think that software is like basically the best business in the world because it has the highest margin. It's like very scalable. You don't even know what is like the limits to your market is. Like you could find your 1,000 true fans basically, and they pay you $10. And it runs in the background while you sleep. You don't even have to do anything. You can literally, like if you compare it to like creating content, right? Like with that, you have to like work every day. With an app, you just solve your own problem. You know that this app works. If you were able to market it to find your own audience, you're basically set for life, and you can make more than people make in most of the countries in the world. So in Russia, like the average salary is like, and basically $300, I think. In Moscow, I think it's $1,000. So if you make an app that makes 2,000, you already beat it. But
wow.
you're like, I don't need to work anymore. I'm good. Americans don't understand this, but for us, it's just like, wow, $2,000 is like a lot. I could live a great life in Moscow. Like not great, it was just like, okay. Imagine India or Indonesia. Like, you know, this was Mark Andreessen reposted this post. Like basically there was some Indonesian TikTok girl that made like $700.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's a global phenomenon. It's going to be huge. And this like $1 million TAM as like people like Anish from ACCC talk about. a lot is basically the same thing, because like it wasn't like really viable before, because making a mobile app cost like $40,000. That's the reason we only had like 9 million apps on the App Store and billions of websites before AI. And now thanks to like tools like Rork, it's finally changing. And the only thing that's actually like blocking is Apple, unfortunately.
Really? Why?
But I mean, they kind of like don't like a lot of like AI generated apps on the App Store. But we try to market Rork as like the best place to build high quality apps. So if you saw Rork Max is like one of the attempts, and we're having Rork Games and Rork Max app launch soon, which is basically
Rork Games.
Yeah.
You can make games or what using.
Yeah, you can make Fortnite with multiplayer backend. Yeah, you can make FIFA. You can make basically like Pokemon Go. All of these like, especially like after Fable 5, we just came out like a few days ago. It's pretty insane.
Insane.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this launch. But yeah, I think it's basically will be used like by a lot of kids who are just trying to build apps like we were when we were kids, and somehow 14-year-olds can now make $1,000. We even have like a competitor that is literally led by 14-year-olds, so which is called 10x. I really like their team.
Oh, I know.
I mean, basically, when you're young, I think you have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of fear. So we learned that young people like George, he's like 18, or Zaki who's also basically a big proponent of Rork. And he's a friend of George, and that's how I actually met him as an immigrant, which is like this genius kid who's 19 years old, basically, made an app that made like close to like 100 million ARR, basically, calorie tracking app, this Zaki, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he was like, it's cool, while he was like a millionaire. And this is all basically thanks to the App Store, because he solved his own problem, calorie tracking. He was like basically a fitness, I would say like a fitness basically expert.
Okay.
Enthusiast,
Okay.
yeah. Want to pick the right words here. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if enthusiast, I don't know if that's maybe expert.
Yeah. But yeah, it's basically, so calorie tracking was the thing. After using ChatGPT, it was natural for him to basically like make stuff with AI. So by just taking a picture, so like, why can't I just track calories with a picture? And I think that also what like Paul Graham talks a lot about, that's just like live in the future. I'm like the person in my friend groups like that read everything for Paul Graham. I don't know, just have natural interest, like how to pick good startup ideas, like how to start a startup. And
on LinkedIn, you give really good recommendations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good.
I'll try more of those.
I feel like people need more of those.
Yeah, and basically I think what really struck me is that when he said basically live in the future and build what's missing. So I feel like when you're young, you naturally sometimes want things that are pretty important, so when you basically just want a wrestling app for yourself, you naturally find that you can market it by just DMing people on TikTok that you already watch. That's what George did, and that's why he's like making $30K a month now, which is 3 times more than most people make in the US, right? Per month.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy that like young people have this like new world before them, thanks to AI, which we didn't really have when we were growing. We had to learn stuff. They don't even like to learn. They just build, and just like it's all. There's no like. There's no excuses anymore. You can only just grow and build, and I think that's what's really excites me about Rork, is that we can go to schools. We can basically be like the thing that the next generation uses.
Awesome. And you wrote something called the SF group chat that went viral in every group chat in San Francisco. Tell me more about that. I feel like people want to hear this live.
Yeah. So there is a really nice essay again. As I was saying, we experienced like 2 wins of group chats. The first was like me out of nowhere becoming basically the hot thing in San Francisco. Then I had to basically travel back to Tbilisi to basically work with my co-founder. And then while I was like back, there was like already a lot of competitors like Vibe Code App, anything and Wabi, and there was a lot of like hype around these startups, and I think there still is, but it was all basically like fabricated because we saw on like metrics and like similar web that we're like actually the biggest, but no one knows about it. And then basically when we set up to raise money, people would always ask, what about these guys? What about this? I'm saying we're like the largest, the the first and the best on product wise. Well, I mean, I heard that like somebody's talking about like this other startup that's actually really good. And it's like, have you actually seen their traction? It's like they don't really care because they mostly care about what other people think. That's I think what Paul Graham also wrote a lot.
Yeah.
It's just like, and unfortunately, when you talk about investors, basically, they mostly care about what other investors think about you because they don't, like apart from like the smart top 1% ones, which are like the market movers. In every financial market, it's like that. In crypto, is like that. There was always like whales that move the market, and everyone all follows. So I think it's kind of like in venture, it's the same. So if like some people heard that some like great tier 1 VC funds think that something is great, they're just gonna follow that. And then it is funny because depending on like a tweet, people who can like said that basically I'm in can like the next day pull out because they've heard something on Twitter or they've
One
heard
little
that
thing, even if they hear one little thing.
and for you it's just like I have this email and it's like I'm in, like just send me the email, and then you next day you ping him and it's like okay, he's just out. It's like
no.
that's why it's really important to move fast in Silicon Valley. But
Okay.
but it's also like a nice phenomenon. It's like why do people do that? So I started thinking about it, and then yeah, it's kind of like it was obvious that there's this invisible thing called the group chat that actually
At
rules
first, when I read that, I thought there was an actual group chat. I'm like, I want to be in this group chat.
Yeah. I thought a lot of people thought about it.
Yeah,
Too.
it's like, I feel left out.
Yeah, I kind of like implied it like on WhatsApp, but I think a lot of people quoted it was actually on Signal. But this is yeah, I think it's just a combination. So there's basically in every like venture fund or everything, there's like a trusted circle of scouts and people they trust or like founders they backed. There's always like chatter like who's like the next thing where we should back, and then somehow because everything moves fast, information kind of travels really fast. So whenever you say anything to anyone, if you're not careful, if you say anything like I don't know that exposes your startup in some like a bad way, it's just like goes.
Sure, that's scary.
So if you notice that, it's kind of like funny how it works. But it also means that when somebody learns something great about your startup, it's just like everyone knows it, and now they all want to invest. So
that's what happened with you. Yeah. Thank goodness it was
so
good.
I got 2 modes. I was like, okay, this is probably a phenomenon. We should write about it.
That's
but also it makes people judge ideas by the same thing. So they might think that you're like not good and not back you because they heard that some people thought that's like this is not gonna win. This is not the biggest category, and it's really sad because sometimes like outlier come and then kind of wins because despite everything else. But it's also kind of funny, and that was like a tribute to that. And I think I remember like a quote tweet from my GP at CRV, I think, that was like, I hate this essay because I think it's true. And I hate that it's true. And there's like
you're just spitting true facts. You're being real,
Yeah, and sometimes I think like in Silicon Valley, I'm not sure it's like good to be entirely like blunt and straightforward, but because I'm Eastern European, I feel like I do that, and my co-founder do it too. So it's just like
that's true. I feel like Eastern European,
it's part of the culture, but I think we're like the nice Eastern Europeans that like understood the SF culture a lot. And in Eastern Europe, there's not a lot of stories like Rork because most of basically people from our countries, they're really talented technical. We had like our own Russian Silicon Valley, kind of like Russian Google, Russian AI, even like Russian Facebook.
Is Yandex one of those?
Yeah. Yandex had like GPT, but then war, everything basically broke it. But it doesn't matter. It basically means that, people are like really technically talented. They're really great designers. They really understand product, especially consumer products, because they're like kind of global. And B2B has a lot of like, relationships, and like it's not really transferable, but like consumer is transferable. That's why a lot of like consumer app people are also from Eastern Europe as well. And I feel like understanding English culture, knowing English really well is the thing that we are like good at, and like especially American culture, like San Francisco's culture.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of like our folks basically from Eastern Europe, they don't kind of do it because they were not like brought up in a way. I also have a new upcoming essay about that.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's just like it's basically called Soft Power versus Hard Power and why America won Russia. It's just like a provocative tagline, but it's basically about like the fact that in Russia there is like zero trust, and it means that people usually win with like hard power. So and in America it's really mostly, especially in California, it's mostly like soft power. So just through media, through just being like nice to everyone and building relationships and trusting everyone by default. And
so in Russia, you have to be like either higher power or like you won't. Like,
you have to be either close to like higher power,
close to higher power,
and that's how you get like money and stuff. Or if you try to build stuff and build soft power, if you become too big, especially now, they
people don't trust you.
People first. Some people don't trust you, think you like stolen something or you got like a rich dad or something, or like the people in power just cut you. So people like are really afraid of that, and also Soviet Union history also doesn't help. So we have like so most people optimize instead of like for winning, for like not losing, because like it's really important to like not lose safety, and that's kind of like the win. And in America, in contrast, people really want to win. It's just like win is the most important thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. It's good. You have
I also learned a lot of these patterns. I found a lot of these patterns in myself. Like, what are these? Like, why am I feeling this? Like, yeah.
Another essay you wrote arguing that in an AI world, being fake will stop working, that authenticity matters 100 times more. But hasn't fakeness always worked in Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I feel like fakeness works everywhere, not in Silicon Valley, just because it's a shortcut and it actually gets you to think faster. And sometimes you actually need a shortcut because the world isn't fair. Sometimes you need a shortcut to move, I don't know, out of whatever you are. So it's okay to use shortcuts, I think, in a sense, if you're trying to be ethical at the same point. But I think that it will stop working because being fake is really easy with AI. So with AI, everyone can claim that they like understand everything. Like it's really hard to distinguish a good engineer versus a bad engineer because now everything runs with AI. Same thing with like writing. I remember when I wrote the SF group chat, somebody in the comments literally posted, "Is this AI or not?" and tagged some bot, and then the bot analyzed it, so like 100% not AI. I was like, wow, I didn't know that such bot existed.
Oh my gosh!
But unfortunately or fortunately,
wait, but it's nice. It wasn't AI.
No, it was me.
So you wrote all of it.
Yeah.
It was a really good read.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, this means I'll read it. So people already do that. And I wrote this essay about like basically being fake before the group chat. And it didn't really go viral. And when I showed it to like, a bunch of friends, they were like, nah, I don't know. But then I kind of like saw it like happening with my other essay that actually got viral, the first essay, like the group chat. Yeah. But it's like a person literally checked if it's like AI or not and said, okay, if it's not AI, I will read it. Because then it's not slop.
That's crazy. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So it's like, okay, this is definitely happening. So probably it will happen with movies. It will happen with games. There will be like handcrafted stuff, like authentic stuff, and there will be like just entertaining stuff, like digital, like Meta, or was your name the company out of the metaverse? There will be like digital fake stuff that is just really engaging, and most people, like with porn, like they just like it and they'll just use it. But I think with a lot of other stuff, there will be still like premium, like I don't know, handcrafted stuff or some, like authentic stuff.
So now people are actually going to be a lot more like gravitate a lot more to like non-AI things, and if they like, there should be like labels.
It was basically both, right? So it doesn't mean they will not use AI things. I think like it's just there will be a separate segment of people who are not like using AI.
Yeah. Wow. You named your company after Ayn Rand's Howard Rork. Tell me more about that inspiration.
Yeah, so the inspiration was basically based on a story of this Rork, a person from the book, who was basically an architect who has dropped out of university and basically pursued his own vision and tried to build skyscrapers, while everyone was literally like building dark European classic buildings in New York. It's a fictional story, but it kind of like, it is funny that it's similar to what Rork was doing. So everyone was trying to build like web app builders, right? Or like vibe coding tools like Cursor. And we're like, okay, mobile is the hardest thing. Like we should build like let's call it skyscraper.
Yes.
But it's really
a
hard.
Skyscraper, yeah.
Yeah, but then no one believed in it, so it was just like two people, sometimes like even like one person just like building all alone. No one believed in them, and it's same like as Rork did, and yeah, it's kind of like funny because like yeah, you could connect the dots looking backwards only. But when I named it, I thought that basically people would be more, instead of like engineers, like software architects. So it actually makes sense, and the domain was like open, basically. Like we got Rork.com. It's like 4-letter domain name for like, I think it was like around $20,000, which is like so cheap for like a 4-letter domain.
Wait, that's crazy expensive.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people like saying, "Oh, this name is so hard to pronounce in English. You can confuse it with work, with blah blah blah." But I feel like it is kind of unique now, and people like really remember. It's like kind of with Nike, right? People also say, "Is it Nike or is it?"
I always say Nike.
Nike, yeah. In Russian, we also say Nike because it's Russian, yeah. But in the US, I think people say Nike.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because the product defines the brand, and yeah, we have a great team that is building a great product. I'm really grateful for.
Yeah, you really care about your you really care about finding really good talent. Yeah, it's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, especially like engineering. I think we have like a great high bar because we have Levan, and then it just went from that.
Okay.
And I think it's also like important when you are, we grew to $1 million ARR and raised $2 million as just 2 people initially, right? And then we only added people. And I think what we did as a hack is hire a bunch of contractors to test them out. So we weren't actually 2 people, but then there were a bunch of contracts who were actually full-time. So we didn't like decrease our bar, but then we just hire like a bunch of people to help us and that try to interview them full-time that way, which kind of is a mess, but also it allowed us to move fast out of nowhere, like achieve what we've achieved. Yeah.
Whoa,
now we have like 13 full-time employees, which is insane. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And what's the bar for anyone who wants to like work at Rork? Like how do you determine like?
Oh, the bar is basically we just try to basically find people who already build great things. So we found this company Paperline that basically helped us basically build Rork Max, and it was founded by 2 people, Evgeny Mazharovsky and Max, and basically they just built the best desktop app to build Swift apps as 2 unknown Russian people based in Tbilisi in Spain. So I just saw the LinkedIn launch. I just DM'd them and was saying, "Yo," and they already knew Rork because we are kind of like a local success story.
Yeah.
So got on a call with them, and like a week later, they were already in Tbilisi with Levan, like falling in love with each other. And that's how basically we acquired their company. And the same thing happened with the founder of ASCCLI. After we launched Rork Max, we gained 9 million views and doubled our ARR in 2 weeks.
I saw that. Yeah. That was huge.
Yeah.
Because I knew you before that mega. So I was like, I was so happy for you guys. Like, wow, you guys are really growing fast.
Yeah. It is growing super fast, and it's really, like, I really love it. The Rudrank 3M basically wrote this best library for App Store, working with App Store Connect, which allowed us to launch Rork Max Publishing, which is basically the way to automate your App Store submission, because Rork can now generate screenshots, description, and everything for you for the App Store. So yeah, because he did that literally with like 10 agents in like a week, like covering like I think around 2,000 API endpoints for App Store Connect. He published it open source, it got viral, And then basically when we launched Rork Max, it was like destiny, I think. So yeah, all of this basically best talent, it kind of flows to the best talent. So when you hire a great engineer, if just one, just like snowballs. So same thing with marketing and everything. So, but yeah, we're still like one particular challenge for me is just hiring in the U.S. as like an immigrant. Is just coming here and experience the group chat dynamics as well. But I feel like now we have like 4 people in the office, and especially like hiring young people is a great hack because they have like high energy, and when they work in growth, they like really want to win, and they understand the TikTok culture and like the everything like consumer. Yeah.
That's awesome. And another thing you said too is like if you're the underdog, you have to hack the system. Yeah, I think this is one of the questions. If you're for the YC startup school, the application questions.
For YC application, they always ask like, how do you hack the system?
How did you hack the system? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really important to find like ways to really.
Yeah, it's all about like these shortcuts that I say. Like, it's really important to not break the law, or don't do anything bad. But shortcuts are great because they're a way to gain unfair advantage. And in an unfair world where a lot of people have a lot of unfair advantage, if you want to win, you have to like gain unfair advantage somehow. Sometimes that means using short hacks and then like paying for them later, because a short hack, basically a shortcut, basically is you'll pay for it later because it's a shortcut. There's like tech debt.
Okay.
So for later, you're just gonna like I did it to like save time, and speed up. But
how do you pay for it later? In what ways do you have to pay for it later?
I think just fires back, because I think the best companies in the US, and Sam Altman talks about this a lot, is just like built by people who are thinking long term. And if you want to think long term, if you want to win long term, like Anthropic kind of now won OpenAI. They focus on coding, right? The most important thing. And then the other thing, which just didn't matter. Because coding, if you solve coding, it's kind of like AGI at this point, right?
Yeah.
So now they're worth more than an OpenAI. And it was not obvious at the point, but it only requires like strategic long-term thinking. That's why I think a lot of missionaries win, actually. Because mercenaries, they use like always think like short-term, like how to get like
quick wins. Like
yeah. And sometimes you got to be in that mode too, because if you're like, I don't know, if you're nowhere and then you want to get somewhere, you have to like do something quickly to get out. But then when you get to a point when you're like actually in a better like society where thinking long term is actually appreciated, there's trust, and whereas there's like, I don't know, protection of private property or something like that, which we didn't have. I feel like thinking long term is great, and when you do think long term, you end up with much bigger wins and a much healthier life. And that's when you kind of like remove the shortcuts. And when you don't think long term, you always end up in the situation that's like that shortcut kind of like now says that you basically did the shortcut then, and now you're kind of paying it back. But it's like whatever it is, we needed to do that. Otherwise, like, how are you gonna win?
That's so true. Yeah. Well, actually, now I'm like reflecting, like I'm really proud of myself for like doing the shortcut with Shopify. That was a shortcut, right?
Why do you think so?
Doing the video for Shopify.
Oh yeah.
That was a shortcut. Yeah.
It was. Or I don't think like when you do great work that goes viral, it's like a shortcut.
Okay.
I think shortcut is more of a like, it's not gonna work long term, but you have to do it anyway and get somewhere and then quit.
It didn't work long term, but it got me somewhere. That's true. Yeah. What do you want work to look like in 5 years?
I think in 5 years we're going to be a multi-billion-dollar company for sure. And I think I'm excited mostly about Rork for Founders, because I think that's our story. And that's the story of our users. But that's a long-term vision. I'm not sure if it's going to be there in 5 years, but AI definitely allows it. And I think kind of like having sort of like built space, but for mobile apps is kind of like the idea, like YC, but for consumer. That's kind of the dream that I wish I had when I was building consumer apps when I was 20. And yeah, it was basically impossible to like raise money for a consumer app. Or it's like if you raise, you're kind of screwed because why did you raise VC funding for an app? But there should be a way to like help people start more companies. And I feel like with venture, there was like really, really odds of success, like less than 1%. So that's why you needed like $1 billion outcome to actually get there. But with apps, like the probability of success is like say 10%, right? So then you need to fund people, you don't actually need like $1 billion outliers to like win. You can have like 100 million, and you can also give cash loans to like fund profit, cash generating like apps. So yeah, it's all exciting. I think you need to build social lifts because that's how you
Social lift.
Yeah, you lift yourself and other people out of poverty.
Yeah.
I remember I had this vivid memory when I was quitting my like physics university. It was basically based under Moscow, like in this town called Dolgoprudny, and it's like a really poor Soviet town which they assembled to like win the Cold War, and put the most crack people there. And basically what I learned was like I was living in a dorm because it was really long from Moscow to go there. So, and the dorm was like really, really bad. And I was like, and I understood all of my peers are like geniuses. That most of them are like even smarter than me. They won like international physics Olympiads, competed with the US and China. They're living in poor conditions. It's like, why so many poor people, or so many smart people are living like poor, and their dream is to just go work for like Russian science, which pays like $300 or $500 a month, or move to like Europe, the UK, or the US, and then they get like a nice salary. But it's just like this is not how you basically win. So I remember I was sitting in the McDonald's with my friends who are like software engineers at Yandex, Russia, and Google, and they were like dreaming like earning about like $2,000 a month or like $3,000, and I was like, I had an Android phone back then, even though I grew up as an Apple fan, but it's a complicated story. But I had to buy myself a MacBook and an iPhone. And basically, I researched Google Play, and it's like there's like a coloring app that makes like $20,000 a month, and it's like a stupid app that was made by a person no smarter than us. What are we doing here? And they were like, "No, I don't believe we're gonna win." And yeah, they just went and worked, and I just like, okay, we're just gonna build apps for sure.
Wow, that was like the light bulb moment, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the mission that I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
Well, I think for Rork, we're going after small business owners right now.
Oh.
There's a lot of usage there, and there's a lot of like excitement about like building something for Expo, but for like Swift community, and actually building Rork for teams. But that's basically that's what we're gonna announce later.
Okay.
But I think I'm personally really excited about this personal story because I think that's like vividly how the world is like changing now, and it's not happening instantly, but in the long term, this is the thing that's gonna win. So if you think long term, you have to do it now. Yeah. If you think in decades, yeah. So I stopped doing shortcuts. So
okay.
at this point,
yeah, you've done enough shortcuts.
Yeah.
But if you're first starting out, it's good to have like think of those little shortcuts to make.
Yeah, I mean, not even shortcuts. You just try to build pet projects that you like.
Pet projects, okay, that's a good advice.
Solve a problem for yourself, build a game that you really like, and then that gets you somewhere. Yeah. I mean, a shortcut, I also say that it's like a quick win. So I think with pet projects, you don't really need to be a win. You can just do stuff because you like it. Then somehow it connects them. If you don't give up. Yeah. Sometimes it takes 8 years. I like to post that I read in Andrew Chen's book this like takes on average it took like 10 years to get to $1 billion valuation. I was like, I'm on year 8. Like if you count from like Rork's initial like founding story, it's like probably like 1.5 years. But I can't just like when I started and actually like if you think this is all the same kind of connected story. Yeah. That's
really great advice for everyone to end this off. Just think long term and think this is gonna be like don't give up. You had so many roadblocks, but you did not give up. Yeah. You kept persisting.
And don't be like Russian people who don't believe like that they can't win. Okay. And always ask yourself like what if you win? It's like when you think basically you're launching as Replit people, Bolt people, and that you're like they're gonna ship mobile soon. It's pointless. It's like, but what if we win?
Yeah, what if? You guys won.
what if we win?
You guys are winning.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So it's kind of crazy that just by asking this question, you kind of like change your mindset along. And I say to this, it's so deeply rooted in you. So I have to say it to me every day. Like, what if you win?
What if you win? Yeah, what if? Okay, that's so inspiring. I'm gonna say that too. What if I win? What if I scale a really good podcast?
Yeah, and that gives you inspiration to like keep going, right?
Yeah, because sometimes I'm nervous to say like I want to be the best at this because I'm like, there's so many people. Like I feel
what
like
if
being
you win?
the best. Yeah, what if I win? Like what if?
Yeah, well, a lot of people in the US say you gotta win. But I think when you say "what if you win," you get into this mood state. But actually, for some reason, I don't believe that I could win. But actually, there is no reason to not believe it.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Just try it,
Just try
and
it.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I also can tell like a quick story.
Let's do it.
I basically before doing this AI Covers app with my friend Yuri that I lived with, I basically built this when ChatGPT just came out. This Chrome extension called like Command J. It was basically a Raycast AI, but for Chrome browser. Basically a shortcut that lets you ask ChatGPT on any website and improve your grammar. Or basically, if you're on Stack Overflow, if you remember this website for like coding help, you could ask like a coding question. I remember vividly that we had this conversation with Yuri. He's like, he was like, I'm using this only mostly for like fixing my English grammar and stuff. So he went on to start like one of the largest like English learning app called Fluently, and I was like, I'm only using this to like ask coding questions. So, so if back then I listened to myself and thought of like, okay, maybe ChatGPT for coding could be interesting. I think it would have been probably. Just starting in the space like around the cursor time. But I think to do that, you have to really like listen to yourself, and that's like sometimes really hard. Just trust yourself. I think that's like the biggest.
Trust yourself.
Sometimes your subconscious kind of knows, it makes all the decisions. It kind of knows the thing you're gonna do before you're gonna do it.
Before you do it.
But you kind of like can't articulate it, so you just do it. And that's I think what disconnecting the dots advice from Steve Jobs comes from, because your subconscious knows. And sometimes basically when you feel that something is not working out and you don't have the energy to get up, you don't want to quit. Sometimes it means like you have to just not give up. But then sometimes your subconscious is saying it's like, this situation is kind of not good for you.
You have to pick, like you really.
But rationally you think it's like rational to continue, but somehow your body is like, bro, this is not good.
Okay, so
something is fishy here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you kind of like, why am I depressed? Maybe I should just take meds. It's like, maybe you just change, like just trust yourself and just, sometimes you feel it about a person. When you feel you need to immediately like fire them, that's what I learned. It's just like, if you trust intuition on people, it's really, really hard. If you think something is wrong with the person, just like, this is something is definitely wrong.
Okay.
And when hiring, there's a lot of like mistakes like that when you like don't trust yourself, then it just like spirals out of control.
Yeah. Wow, you're really inspiring me to build an app too, because I'm always thinking like, what app would I build? But now
solve your own problem. Yeah.
I know, because I'm learning French right now. I would build an app with like French learning. I'm so excited to try that. Hopefully I do.
Yeah. Rork.com.
Yes, Rork.com. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Daniel. This is so great, and
thank you.
Honored to be the first podcaster interviewing you. So this is amazing. Can't wait to release this.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you're a great interviewer.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you.
Yeah, and I really enjoy that I basically also like found you online and DM'd you. And
can we talk about how that happened? Yeah. Like you DM'd me about like, tell
I was like searching for like talent that could like lead the next build space. And I saw you, was like, okay, you have like this great energy. And it's like, you definitely have like something in you that could like do it.
Thank you.
After seeing that video.
Yeah.
And I just DM people. That's what I kind of learned.
Yeah.
Just see interesting people on Twitter or everywhere, just DM them, just try to like.
Right, come to that,
Find like unspotted talent. Because that's one of the hacks to win as an underdog.
Okay.
Because all the like known talent is kind of like available. So you have to find like weird people that is like sometimes like our investor was like say, why did you hire these people? Who are they? But it's like somehow it's just like
you're really good. You have a good eye for like
I'd like to think that I'm not sure, especially when I don't trust myself. I feel like this is like a bad trait, but I feel like I feel like I have a good eye for like potential talent. But then it's also like there's another function, just filtering. I just have like sometimes I just really believe in like everyone, and it's really good to inspire people, but sometimes it's like not good for hiring as well.
Yeah, true.
So also like a great question.
Keep that in mind. Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.